All right, we are live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. It looks like this broadcast was deleted on Facebook. The stream on Facebook create a new broadcast. Or just remove this destination. Interesting. So let's
Why
see what happens here.
Facebook?
I'm gonna push this button, Ray, and see what happens. Okay, I apologize if we go away. I promise we'll be right back.
We're right on.
It's not liking it. So apparently on Facebook, we might not be there. That's the Facebook group. So if you were trying to watch the Facebook group, Facebook doesn't like us, so we're not there. But we are on the Facebook page. We are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. We are on Twitter, and we're on Twitter both on yours, mine, and the team's. Because why not, right?
Let's just clarify really quick. If you're watching right now in your Enterprise Facebook group, just share this stream in the Facebook group so people see it.
There you go. Thank you. Someone do that for us. That was a really rough start, but it popped up, and I had to figure out what was going on. So this is your random drop-in, because we're not necessarily daily right now. It's Tuesday, January 5th, if you can believe that already, 2021. Ray and I thought it'd be a good time to drop in and say hello to you, so stick around. We're going to be right back in a couple seconds to talk about stuff. We like to talk about stuff, you and I, so we'll be right back with that. Well, good morning.
Good morning. I'm sorry we're having tech issues this morning, but who cares? Because we just wanted to surprise everybody and have some good discussion and remind you about what you should be focused on today. And that's our goal. So sorry for the tech issues, but
Facebook was like, "Hey, I'm going to surprise you two. Like, we're going to surprise everybody. We're going to make this hard to work with. I guess I don't know. It's going to keep popping up on the back end here. It's going to drive me crazy because it's like keeps popping up and it like covers you. Yeah, so it's interesting. Sure. We'll see how the day goes, but
you don't need to see me, Jeff. You don't want to see my face. It's fine.
I spent like 3 hours with you yesterday, seeing your face and stuff. So, Monday nights is when Ray and I record Teach Better Talk podcast. We had 3 awesome interviews last night. So, yeah, and then she's like, "Okay, we gotta go here because it's funny because this isn't quite the same, but it's very similar to how like the original 12-hour happened, which I was like, "Hey Ray, you need to talk me out of this," and you didn't. Last night you said, "Hey, I had a question you're supposed to say no to,"
and he even
all right. I didn't practice
saying no. I was like, "Do you want to practice first? Try it out."
I practiced being stern, being confused, being angry. It was really I should have recorded. It'd been a great acting reel to have, but in the end, I did not say no. I said yes, and all it was you said, "Hey, I'm home this week. I have a little extra time in the morning because of teaching remote, so I don't have to drive to work. Let's go live for like a half hour or something and say hi to everyone in the new year." And I'm like, well, I don't have any reason to say no. I think this makes sense. So
I love it. And also this was a great lead up because we're hoping this is a really, really quick reminder of all the things you should be considering today to continue to support students. And then we get to transition and go to the admin mastermind at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, which happens every single Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So this was kind of like our slow warm up to that epic conversation that's going to be going on as well, which by the way, if you're not part of our admin mastermind and you consider yourself an educational leader, you can get the free link. It's literally just a Zoom link at teachbetter.com/mastermind, and it happens twice on Tuesdays every week.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Eastern time and 7 o'clock Eastern time. You can come to one or the other or both. If you're thinking about jumping in there today and you never have, make sure you either hit Dave Schmitto up or myself so we can get you a link really quick because the email might not automatically send quick enough to be safe. Good morning, really quick to Alex. Good morning, Alex. Speaking of Dave Schmitto, good morning, Dave. Carly Spina's in the house. Kylie Drake is here. Natalie's here. We gave Natalie a shout out on one of the podcasts yesterday. So Natalie,
because you know why? I was talking about popcorn. That's why. I got you, girl. I got you.
So I can't remember which one it was, Natalie. It's either 239, 240, or 241. One of those episodes you're mentioned in. So, if you care about Ray mentioning, you may want to listen to those.
I think it was the last one. I think
it was episode 241 with Al Thomas, yeah, which is a good episode. Andrea, good morning. Hope Baby Luke's there with you as well.
Can I do one quick thing, please?
Yes.
I know you're saying
you want to say hi to Jeff Kaplan? Because you can if you would like to. Or maybe Lindsay Titus. Did you want to say hi to Lindsay Titus?
I love all these people.
Danielle Ramirez. Maybe Danielle over on YouTube. Always repping YouTube. Maybe that's who you want to say. Or maybe Brittany. or Katina or Megan. Like,
See what
oh, did I just take all that from you? I'm sorry.
Horrible. No, I want to say hi to people, but I also want you guys to know Jeff and I have a few things we want to touch on today, but overall, like, this is kind of like a daily drop-in, even though it's a random drop-in, because we will take questions. So if you're still chewing on an idea this morning, throw your questions in the comments. It can be Teach Better related, education related, morning related, coffee related, everything's fair game. I do want to give a special shout out. It's my sister's birthday today. So she would never be watching this.
She would never be watching this.
She would never be watching this. And she's definitely asleep. But shout out to Dana, rock star. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is she? Is she 25?
She's 25. Big year.
Right. Up there. Good morning, Jen and Joe. If everyone who's watching, if you were with us for the 12-hour live, if you could just do me a favor, I'm actually just going to leave it at that. You know what favor I'm looking for in the comments. So if you could do that for me, that would really get my Tuesday off to a good start. So I'm looking at anyone who's paying attention during the 12-hour live. You know what I'm looking for. Please hook me up in the comments really quick. Happy birthday, Dana. Look at the little birthday cake. Anyway, so
Lynn is the best teacher ever, so I'm thrilled to see her. No,
awesome.
What's happening in the comments? Oh no, stop.
Just gonna sit here for a second.
Jeff, we were supposed to add value and like do stuff. What are you emphasizing here? That we're a family and we're crazy about green hearts all of a sudden in 2021?
You don't think this is value? Like, feel that love. That's value. So let's talk about stuff. So mostly everyone, I think, is back. Some people were back with students yesterday. Some people had institution days or institute days. I know you had that. I think most people are then eventually are actually back now today with students back. I know you're kind of on I think it's a weird schedule, but maybe other people are in this too. But you were virtual this week and then back next week in person, correct? Or is it hybrid?
I'm finding that to be common because a lot of educators are trying to go hybrid this semester, but they want like a break between Christmas because they're worried about people seeing family. So my school is only remote this week. We're actually going back to hybrid the following week. But most schools I know are taking 2 weeks remote and then going back to hybrid, at least the ones that I've worked directly with recently. So it'll be interesting. But hey, Mike Rymack is my brother-in-law. Look at that. She'll be happy to hear you shout her out. Why are you watching?
Mike, if you don't know Mike is I believe is the founder, the creator of #TeachGooder.
He is the creator of
a huge hashtag that is blowing up all across social media. So shout out to Mike there. That was, if you weren't with us, actually that was before we went live on New Year's Eve, wasn't it?
It was. We weren't live yet, but
we had a nice conversation.
Mike's the best brother-in-law ever.
Hello, Megan. Megan, I hope you're noticing that the Green Hearts are still alive and well. So thank you for that. Megan was the creator of the Green Heart. Some people think that like Apple or someone else, I don't know who actually creates icons and emojis and stuff, created it, but it was actually Megan that created it. So that's actually where it comes from. So one thing we were talking about before, and we touched on this last night, was sort of, talking through some of the things that we've reflected on from the first half of the year, things that we've been focusing on maybe during break when we're thinking through things. Mm-hmm. And then I'm getting a pop-up again. I apologize. It's really distracting. I know. it was longer this time because it was the initial like, hey, this isn't working. But then there was a second one that says, hey, if you don't go live on this Facebook group, it deletes it. And I'm like, I can't get out of here, Facebook. Come on, Zuck. Get it together. But we're talking about some of the things like, coming in, what we should be focusing on right now, getting back in, whether we're already started, whether we're getting started this week, whether we're remote, whether we're getting ready hybrid, whatever it might be, the things that we should be focusing on getting back into the classroom, into our schools, whatever our role is. Where is your focus, Ray, right now? Did you know that this was going to be me interviewing you, or did you?
I didn't know I was going to be interviewed by the all-star Jeff Gargas, but I'm going to try and hold my fangirl in. This is my brother-in-law making fun of me, by the way. Yeah, that's true. All right.
I like him. I like him, Ray. I don't know. Yeah, I think we're going to hang out. I think we're going to be friends.
Okay, moving forward. I think the biggest thing that I was focused on yesterday that I really appreciated kind of getting to and kind of inspired coming live this morning is that we really do need to kind of come back to the things that worked last year and ensure that we haven't forgotten any of those pieces in 2021. Routines is actually the one that continues to pop up in my world right now. Is I'm like, I had really strong routines all semester long. And I really, really focused on those routines because that allowed me to move from remote to hybrid to back to remote and like have this ebb and flow. And it kept my stress level down because regardless of where I was, regardless of where my students were, we had a routine. Students understood what was expected of them. I understood what was expected of me. Mike, don't lie. We know you have a team, hashtag Team Ray shirt. So we've all seen the photo. Don't worry about it. But that really like was eye-opening to me yesterday because I felt like I had forgotten what those routines were. So I intentionally took some time going back and saying, what were students doing all semester long? And am I forgetting any of those pieces as I welcome them back this morning? And so I want to kind of remind all of our network, all of our family, as you are getting started, hopefully you have big, lofty dreams, big goals for 2021. Don't forget that as you're trying these new things, these fun things, these exciting opportunities for students, because we know them, we're getting to know them even better every single day. You're also going back. What are the routines that worked? What are the things that you're going to keep in place? And what are the things that you're not going to change because you saw success? I really hope that goes well for people.
I love it. That actually prompts. Let's see some. I'd love to see in the comments some of the things that are working for you. What have you reflected on? What are you remembering? What are you making sure? What are some of those routines and things that you had in place that were working in the first half of the year that you're focused on right now to make sure that those continue on? And if you want to share maybe something you had to stop doing, or maybe something new that you created over winter break that you're bringing in right now, really love to see that. I think it's really important when you're commenting on stuff like this, everyone else who's watching gets to see that, and it prompts thoughts, it prompts investigation, and that's how we provide more and more value to each other. So share away in the comments. If you want to throw a green heart in with it, that'd be great too. Just saying.
I do have to say, Jeff, I posted this in the private Facebook group. So if you guys are a part of the group at teachbettergroup.com, or if you're just on Facebook and you search Teach Better Team, apparently we're not streaming there right now, but that Facebook group, I posted what I'm doing this week, like all my lesson plan, all my activities, all my videos, I posted there because I am taking these next few days to review procedures and expectations. And I'm doing that for a few reasons, mostly just because I know this is going to be a really hard transition for students coming off of a 2-week period time away, now transitioning, but they're not transitioning like back in school. They're just transitioning to like sitting down and working on their computer because we're still remote. So there were a lot of pieces that I'm working on this week, but I am keeping, as that lesson plan is hopefully really good, reviewing procedures, getting students back in the swing of things, setting alarms again for classes, all those pieces. I also want to make sure that they're getting in the habit of our routine. So we're starting every single day, like we will here in about a half an hour, coming on a Google Meets link. We use Google Meets, and we're starting class all together every single day, no matter where our learning environment is. We always start together. Then we go into work time. Then we end with goal setting and reflection. So trying to get back in the habit of like how our classroom flows is going to be a big focus for this week.
I want to know, Alex, I was thinking as you were talking, and then Alex touched on this, that it's just as true for teachers as much as students. I also want to know it's also true for people that aren't teachers and students too. So myself, not a classroom teacher, running a business here, and it's the same thing. I spent a lot of time, and we didn't take the like a break necessarily, but things slow down, things change over that time period. But this week for me is a lot of reflecting on what has worked well for us to help support our community for the all of 2020 and then to this year, and what am I doing personally to be a better leader within our team, a better colleague within our team, better support for our stuff. So I think it's just we're all there, we're all reflecting, we're all thinking. Anytime there's any kind of like interruption to the norm, quote unquote, which for teachers this year has been like all the time, but you know what I'm saying, like a break, which is always there. It's always an interruption to the typically norm. It's a great time to make sure that we're doing that. We're focusing on getting back to it. So lots of good comments coming in.
I won't lie, Jeff. I have a link that's changing for my students that they use every day, my tracking page. So my tracking page, I'm using a new link in 2021, which is a very long story I won't go into unless you're interested.
I was about to ask why. Like, why are you changing that?
So legitimately, there is a moment where I'm like, I literally am reminding students to delete that bookmark on their computer and re-bookmark it like 12 times this week. It's like hidden within lessons where I'm like testing them to see if they bookmarked it. Because if they were sitting in class with me, I could literally stand over their shoulder and be like, click delete, re-bookmark it. But we're not able to do that. So as a teacher, I'm like, I'm going to triple and double check everything to make sure that we are going to find success this week.
Dave's like the worst because he tries to hold me in my place, doesn't let me change. He always showers me with such lovely words that I'm like, oh, I'm perfect just the way I am. I'm not going to change a thing. And that's why I don't get any better. So thanks, Dave, for just destroying my teach better mindset.
Did you say the word better?
You're the one bringing that up, really? I did say the word better, which my 12-hour live folks. I did say the word better. Anyway, so can I just say that when we have like several dozen people just up watching us randomly right now, which is just, this community.
We're gonna be done here. We're gonna be done here in 10 minutes because we got to go to Mastermind. So if we have
13 minutes,
I just want to
let's not get hasty here. Okay.
I'm just saying, I want to make sure that we like get everybody in the right headspace. So whether it's us drinking coffee and goofing around, or it's, us providing value on, education junk, who knows? It'll be good.
I got it. So we do have like 10, 12 minutes left. If you have a question or anything you're trying to work through, throw that in the comments too, so maybe we can address that as well. Because we really don't have anything else planned. Oh, I'm sorry. Ray. Ray.
I do want to remind people that we have that survey that's open for only the rest of the week. I think it closed Saturday. You can get a $100 Amazon gift card. So if you haven't taken that survey, like go find that link or DM us. We'll get it. It's teachbetter. I'm sorry. It's bit.ly. So bit.ly/reflect TB 2020, and if you don't want to remember that, just DM us and we'll get it for you.
Well, I'm seeing Dave, Andrea, anybody else on the team. If you're watching, if you can grab that link by any chance for the end of your survey and throw it in the comments, that'd be really, really awesome. Because then we'll be able to link out to that. But sorry, go ahead. I was going to save you from trying to remember that bit.ly, but you already got there. So
yeah, no, I think it's super fun to have our community like share their voice, because that makes us better in setting goals for 2021. But on the flip side, I really want you to win the $100 Amazon gift card. So
yes, Van Scott, you can absolutely, if you're an aspiring leader, you can absolutely attend a mastermind. That mastermind is for people who are leaders by title or not, and someone who's trying to get into administration. That's a great place to be as well. So good there. Chelsea says the survey was super easy, so that's good.
Dave's
just letting us know that this works for him.
Yeah, whatever, Dave. Jeff, it's funny, that survey actually gave us so much information. I cheated. I looked at some of the results. I think it was yesterday.
Me too. I was looking yesterday too.
What I liked about it is, there was a lot of elements that we liked, like as a business, we were like, oh, this is good to know. We're going to create more content related to these topics. That was really good. But there also was a lot of questions about like when live streams worked for people and stuff like that, which is totally my jam. Because you guys know, we go live depending on the week and time of year. Sometimes we're live anywhere from like 5 to 10 times a week. So if we can plan strategic live sessions like the administrative rewind or admin mastermind rewind, where we like recap conversations with administrative leaders on Tuesdays, or the biweekly family check-in, or daily drop-ins, or like the mastery chat recap, these are all things we go live for, not because we want to be live, but because we're trying to share information to our network, whether it be to connect you with other people or support you in some way in professional development or inspire you in some way. And so if we know what days are better than others, it's kind of like a win-win for everybody when we're making decisions. So that was what I thought was interesting looking through the results yesterday. And I'm excited to see how the data changes over the next few days.
I left Alex's comment up here. I'm just wondering if we can address it. I'm looking for suggestions on how I can remotely support teachers who are overwhelmed with the number of meetings they already have. Mm-hmm. How can I support them without scheduling another meeting?
Great question. I think my first question, and Jeff, you know this better than anybody because you sit in meetings all day long. Like I personally don't mind sitting in meetings if it's relevant to me. But I am very aware that I only have 2 breaks throughout the day. I have a personal plan time and I have a lunch. The other time that I have a meeting is team time, which I really, really like. My team loves to meet. We're super productive. So if I only have 2 times, one of them being a lunch to meet, it better be a really important stinking meeting that you're in.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of the question of first of the why of the meeting. What's the intention? What's the purpose of the meeting? And if the people don't need to be there, is there a way to like effectively communicate and have someone share their voice and opinion in a different way rather than having a meeting?
Yeah, my first thing was going to be pretty much the same thing as asking yourself, Alex, does this have to be a meeting?
Right.
And then secondly, okay, if it does everyone have to be there?
Yeah.
Or just these 3? Because now I can not bother these 5, not pull it on them, but these 3 really need it. But if it doesn't have to be a meeting, if you can do it through a quick video message to them, a Voxer drop, an email, whatever it might be, if you can convey what you need to them without having a meeting, like that's a huge thing. Van also, I think a great thing, just like if you think there's something you need to share with your team, or maybe it feels like a lot of people are struggling with this one thing, maybe popping off or providing, whether it's a Google form or whatever it might be. Hey, I've noticed a lot of people asking questions about XYZ. I'd love to offer a support session. Do you need it? And then that'll tell you whether they actually, now you have to understand your staff and whether they'll admit that in a form or not or whatever. But doing that, I think, can help as well. But I really think, and then also when you're running a meeting, focusing on how long does it actually have to meet? Do you really need a half hour? Because 9 out of 10 meetings, you do not need a half hour. I don't know. Everybody knows that I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. One of the things that he always says, I can't remember how he says it, but when someone asks him about like how he's so quick and how he moves, and he said, because I'm out here having 7 minutes while you're doing an hour. Because he's like, if it's an hour-long meeting, it could probably be done in 7 to 15 minutes. So like that type of stuff, there's a lot of different pieces to that. Do you need to have a meeting? Does everybody need to be there? And then does it really need to be as long as you're planning it for? Can you execute the meeting more quickly, more efficiently? So,
you know, Megan put in the comments, she does like a coffee chat, interactive newsletter or document. I really like, my principal does like staff notes at the end of the week. That usually has a ton of information and it takes a long time to go through it, but it's a long time to go through it in terms of like, I'm scrolling, I'm not sitting in a meeting, so I can look at it on my own time when I have a break and find the relevant information. But on the flip side, Jeff, even just on our team, right? Like I know we're not talking about schools right now, but on the Teach Better team, we make decisions so quick and every month is different. And so trying to keep everyone up to date, we struggled with that in 2020. There was a lot of reflection you and I had trying to keep our team up to date on all things going on with the team. And I think there were 2 things that really helped us that I know we're continuing in 2021. One is the team leads. We have people that run specific departments, just like you would have people in a school that run specific areas, whether it be a team of teachers or a department on content. And when you communicate exclusively with them and then they like kind of share the wealth of the information, it's one less meeting everybody needs to be in. But on the flip side, similar to staff notes, we do like a big monthly kind of like preview of what's going on with the team to our group. And that's really good because it's sectioned out by topic. So it, depending on what you're interested in and what you want to be updated on, you can kind of filter every single piece and it's saved there forever. So you can go back and review it as needed. So.
Yeah, I 100% agree. That was a big one for us as we started reflecting on how we weren't communicating as well as we could have, and we needed to communicate better. But something Andrea just said that spot, and someone else, someone else said, be efficient, cut to the fluff. It was Andrea again. But email newsletters. Dave mentioned a podcast. One thing to also remember is there's a lot of power that meetings can provide. But most of the time, the power of a meeting amongst your team is not the information you're sharing; it's the community. Something we also started doing was we're doing monthly team meetups where it's just an opportunity for our team to get. We're all virtual. We've always been virtual, so it's always been a thing where we don't get to see each other. So it's just a time for us to come together. And there's no agenda. There's no nothing. I mean, we might mention something, but that's not the point of it. Usually, it's going to be nonsense. So if you feel like you need that meeting, like think about if I'm going to have a meeting on Thursday. After school, could I use that half hour or whatever for something better than this information? So could I share this information in a newsletter, in a Voxer, in a podcast, whatever it might be, and then use that 30 minutes for something, dare I say, fun, but something that's around building relationships, around giving them a break, stuff like that. I think that just another thing to think of. I don't want to advocate for like abolishing all meetings everywhere because your team needs to get together the time, but figure out like what the meetings actually, like where the power is actually in your meetings. And I think there's a lot more power in that than there is in, hey, let me preach to you guys about this new system and routine or this new ordinance we have to follow. Like that's an email. That's
we're doing this with parents. We've been talking about this already, this idea of like video emails to families and stuff like that. And something I really like that my leadership does where I work is that he gives us all the documents. He gives us the PowerPoints with the information, but he also summarizes it in the email. So you can really decide, like, as a teacher, do I really need to get really heavy into this data right now? Or is the main point of this data that in 2021, our school is focusing on student voice and we need to ask our students to advocate more for themselves? Like, it doesn't mean I won't eventually go look at the Google slide, or I won't eventually go look at all the data that he pulls for me. But when I get kind of like the bulleted list of, if you don't have time to go through this, here's the key points, that to me is so much less overwhelming, because then I'm choosing to go dive deeper and that I'm taking ownership over that information, versus if I'm sitting and I'm just being lectured to, I take very little ownership in even like the ideas that are being shared. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We actually do that with our blog post on teachbetter.com.
We do, yes, absolutely.
At the very top, there's a too long didn't read, because you might really be interested in something there, but you just don't have the time to read. Because our blogs can range from 3 to 4 short paragraphs to 5 million words. Like, just depending on the when people write with us, they're like, oh, how long do I get it, or how short? So however long you need to get your point across. Sometimes that's a long deep dive, sometimes it's not. But at the top of all our posts are that it's, hey, if you don't have time to read this, you can at least get a summary. You can at least get some of the value out of it. So I love that your is that your principal that does that?
Yeah.
I love that he provides you all the deep dive information, but then summarizes it for you. Because then you're like, oh, I don't need to spend an hour reading all this stuff. He just told me what I need to know. But if I want to dive in, I can. If I need to reference it, I can. I like that. So good stuff. We are down to about 2 minutes here.
I know.
So last words, final words.
Last words, final words. Guys, we love you. You've been working so hard this school year. We want you to take on this energy of starting the year strong. Don't get bogged down too quickly. We are here to support you. You are part of a group, a community that during the happy days, the awesome days, we're here to celebrate with you. And during the really challenging days, we're here to brainstorm with you and be solution focused. So let us know if you need anything. We hope you have an incredible, incredible Tuesday. And I'm just so glad that we were able to come live and hang out, because it felt weird being home and not being live in the morning with all of you.
Thanks for making me come live, Ray. We appreciate y'all. We'll see you. Bye.